Hello viewers. Today we are actually planning to discuss a line graph with a bar graph combination. In my Facebook page I posted a question paper, so this is actually an explanation of that question. I know that most of my regular class students tried this and some of you sent me. I have seen that in the WhatsApp. So we'll see how we can solve this question in a better way. I'm just
So
giving an
here we have
example.
our
That doesn't
question.
mean that this is the only right answer. You
You know
have
the format of
thousands
IELTS
of
exam, they
possibilities to
give
write the
you that
same
you
one.
should spend about 20 minutes
Let's
on this
straight away
task.
go and see how to
Here
solve
we
this
have a
question.
question that has
That's
a
all.
bar graph, a horizontal bar graph. You can see the green color representing the time period of 1970 in 5 cities: Tokyo, New York, Shanghai, Bombay and Jakarta. On the x-axis you can see they have given 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 and 30. That's showing the number of people existed, and it is in millions. Of course this part of the question doesn't say that. Still it's in millions. I had a previous question which I posted in my WhatsApp. My students must know that. A line graph you can see from 1980 to 2010, the blue color representing the rural areas, and this reddish one shows the line graph of urban population. So you have been asked to summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparison where relevant. We should write at least 150 words. That's the minimum, not the maximum. This has to be kept in mind that most of the students, they stick to running for this 150. Now that's not the focus. If you work on writing what is required for the question, that's what extremely important. When you move on to the question again, you can understand that this is a combinational diagram. That means we can write them separately. That would be much more convenient for the reader to understand your analysis. So I would suggest you to go for that. When you come to this question, we can see that the planning part is extremely important. So when you plan any question, you have to check what is given over there. Let's see the case of Tokyo. It's a place where you can see in each given year, the green color, if you observe, the highest number was Tokyo. The red color, highest number was Tokyo. The blue color as well, highest number was Tokyo. So commonly students write that maximum and minimum. Let's write it in a different way. For example, you can say no other city had as many population as in Tokyo. If you think about 1970 in Jakarta, you can see that the number was extremely low. Even it's just 2.5 million over there. In the case of New York, if you observe the trend, it's just like a slight increment over there, whereas when you look at Bombay, you can see there is a dramatic increase in the number of people when you compare the figures of 1990 and 2010. So Tokyo is an important city for us. Shanghai showed an increase only in 2010. So we have a lot of things we can mention in our body paragraph. And when you have an idea about the line graph, when you prepare a question, I always recommend you note down the figures that you find extremely interesting. For example, Bombay, the red color, if you look at, you can see in 1990 the figure was approximately some 12.5, and it has shooted. I mean, the number has gone in such a way that it reached approximately 27. It's more than double. So that's an important figure we can note down. Similarly, in the case of Tokyo, you can see that it has gone to the highest level in all the given period. if you look at the line graph as well, we have many things to observe. Like in 2000, these figures started showing an opposite trend, and in approximately by 2005, the number became equal. So once the data is properly analyzed, now the time is to think about the structure. We are going to have an introduction paragraph. And in IELTS examination, what we usually do, in our introduction paragraph, we write the type of diagrams that are given. We mention what topic is the question. We rephrase the question as much as possible. It's always advisable not to write what is given by the examiner. Show your common sense, your general knowledge, your knowledge in understanding the mathematical connections such as double, 1/3, 1/4, 3 times or 4 times, quadrupled, such things. Anyway, I'll be giving you another lesson about how to use the vocabulary. Some students have already requested me that. Well, now let's move on to the paragraphing part. So we'll make an introduction. After the introduction, there are methods followed by people in different ways. Some people write the overall view, then they go for some 1 or 2 body paragraphs that gives you the data analysis in a better way. Others are in a different style. They don't write an overall view, instead they go for a conclusion. As the official website so far never recommended this is the structure that you need to follow, you can go with any way. Make sure that after reading your task 1, examiner must get a clarity about these diagrams in a better way. You should use proper English language structures, keywords. They have asked us to make comparisons, so we have to use comparative language such as more than, less than, much more, higher, double, in comparison with, while, such sort of comparative expressions. After all, this is English language exam, so your priority should go there. So we'll write an introduction, we'll write an overall view, then we'll make a paragraph that makes a comparison about the number of people in 5 cities. Another paragraph to describe the line graph. That's how we are going to approach this question. Now let's see the introduction part. When you introduce an essay, when you introduce writing task 1, it's always good to write in a way that normally others do not write. I mean to say, try to be uncommon. For example, in this one you have several ways to write. I'm giving you an example. That's 2 charts are given, a bar graph which compares the rise in population in 5 major cities around the world over 4 decades from 1970, and a line graph that differentiates the world population in terms of rural and urban habitation. This introduction is actually talking clearly what are these diagrams and what these diagrams are concerned. Now, when you move on to writing an overall view, that too, there is no specific format that you should follow this format or that. The purpose of overall view is that give an idea what is the diagram revealing. For example, I have written a quick look at the diagrams reveals that the population of New York followed a steady pace. You can see that the number did not increase in a dramatic way as compared to the other cities, despite the tremendous growth that we have seen in other cities, especially in 2010. And we are also adding a line that says that it was in 2005 an equality in the number of people living in rural as well as urban areas was observed around the world. So we are commenting 2 lines on each diagram to give it like an overall view. Now let's think about how to write a body paragraph. This is not like an essay that we write first of all, moreover, furthermore, in addition, No, nothing like that. Just write it straight away. What is this? That's why when you look at the bar graph, you can see that in 1970 until 2010, Tokyo was maintaining that highest number. So instead of using that maximum number and minimum number, we are writing in a different way. If you see this one, it's written that it can be seen that in 1970, no other city had as many inhabitants as in Tokyo, with a population of 16 million, while Jakarta had the least at around 2.5 million. Later, what happened was there was an increment of 7 million people in the next couple of decades. You can see that. That's why that happened in both Tokyo and Bombay after a couple of decades. And that's why you can see that I have typed it as billions in this paragraph, even though it is millions. It was a typing error. The next couple of decades showed a dramatic change in the situations in these countries. You can see that in 2010, except in New York, a remarkable surge in the city dwellers occurred. Bombay showed a surprising leap in statistics where the number more than doubled from 12 millions to 27 millions. You do the correction part as I have already recorded this. It's tough for me to change. And you can see that these 2 million difference that happened in New York. So with this paragraph, we have given an overall idea, or a clear idea rather to say, about what happened in 5 cities from 1970 to 2010. That's the purpose of a body paragraph. It's not a place where you have to write your by-hearted vocabulary. Instead, it should sound like a report. I always recommend you to follow the news channels nowadays, especially when there is a weather report. Now you can see that now we have the coronavirus, where they are giving you the statistics of each country, how this deadly virus is attacking, the figures and the number of patients recorded in each country. Such kind of things. Please keep an eye on that so that you can grasp some vocabulary from that. Now let's analyze the line graph and describe it. From the line graph, it is observed that the rural population outnumbered the urban people by 1 million, 1 billion. Now it's the global level, by the way. However, what happened, both numbers were following an upward trend. That's why it was a steady upward trend until 2000. Since then, the number grew in urban region. Contrastingly, the figure fell for the people in countryside. After an intersection in 2005 for both, the former reached 4 billion and the latter came back to 3 billion, making the difference of that 1 billion intact. Now, as a student, what I want you is go back to this video, catch the introduction, overall view, first para and second para. You just write it completely in your notebook. You can also send, if you have written the same by yourself, you can just type those in the comment box. I can go through and give my feedback as well.
Well, that's how you can solve this question of a combination of a bar graph and a line graph. Like I said, this is just one among the thousands of possibilities to approach a question. But make sure that when you solve a question, you answer as per the demand. So make sure if the question is asking you to compare, add some comparative language. If you need me to explain any kind of reading, writing, listening or speaking strategies, you can post your comments and request. So based on that, I'll be happy to serve you. So stay home, stay away from corona, stay safe. Thank you.